Thank you for joining us for All Things MSP Live. My name is Eric Anthony. I'll be your host tonight, and we really do appreciate you spending some time with us. Now, you may be asking, what is All Things MSP? We are a community, first and foremost, of MSPs and people around the MSP industry, vendors, subject matter experts, all that kind of stuff, and we're talking about the non-technical side of being an MSP. Now, most of our activity happens in our Facebook group. That's the platform that we've been on the longest. You can join us there at facebook.com/groups/all things MSP. There's about 6,000 members in the group, and somebody is there waiting to talk to you. And we also, if you don't do Facebook, we have a LinkedIn company page. So you can go to linkedin.com/company/all things MSP. Now, last but not least, we also have a YouTube channel. So you can head on over there. This is where you can probably get the best experience watching the live stream because it allows us to interact better through the comments there. But also, we publish a weekly podcast there as well, in addition to publishing it to all of your favorite podcast platforms. But we also post other pieces of content as well. So make sure you go there, you like, you subscribe, you do all the things to make sure you get notified so that you'll know when we post new podcasts, as well as we're doing a new live stream. Now, the live stream is typically every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We try not to miss it, but sometimes life happens. Okay, we got about 19 seconds left before we start the show. We'll see you there. The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are those of its participants and do not reflect the views and opinions of any employer, MSP, sponsor, advertiser, or vendor. Welcome back, All Things MSP crew, to an exciting episode of All Things MSP Live. We're going to be talking about GTIA ChannelCon tonight. It was last week. It was the new and improved first time ChannelCon has happened under the GTIA banner. So a lot of great stuff going on. It was a wonderful show. What can I say? But we would be remiss if we didn't talk about some sponsors first. So our first sponsor tonight is Helped. They are a premier sponsor, and they are just absolutely, I think, hands down, if you need help with your help desk, I'm using the word help a lot, but that's what they do. They help you with your help desk. They answer the phone when you can't. And so I really think that if you are looking for kind of that break, if you're a single person shop and you need somebody to kind of get to the phone so that you can concentrate on what you're doing, I think Helped is excellent for that. If you want them to go a bit further and actually solve problems for you, actually work on tickets, I think that's another great thing that they can do as well. They are really looking forward to helping you help your customers. And the philosophy that they run under is more about the experience of your client rather than just closing tickets. So that's Helped. And you can go to their website at gethelped.com. It's HELPT.com. Or you can go to ATMSP.link/helped. And then our other premier sponsor tonight is Nodeware. If you've got clients, they need vulnerability management, right? And so Nodeware is specifically designed to help you manage all of those, the monitoring for vulnerabilities, the patching, all of that kind of stuff. So, definitely, I think when it comes to tools, especially now in the industry, we're really better off looking at best of breed in a lot of situations. And Nodeware comes from a cybersecurity background. Their company has been doing cybersecurity for a long time. And I think, especially when you take into account that the agent that Nodeware uses is so lightweight that you get such up to the date and, up to the minute almost information. And it's so lightweight on the individual client that it's definitely something that you should look at because all of your clients need vulnerability management and monitoring. So check that out. Check them out at nodeware.com or atmsp.link/nodeware. All right. So GTIA, the Global Technology Industry Association. What is GTIA? Well, it's new, obviously, because a lot of people haven't heard about it yet. Those of you who have followed CompTIA for years, or maybe you have a CompTIA, certification of one kind or another, the A plus, the Network plus, the Security plus, and then all of the other types of certifications that CompTIA has done. You'll be familiar with that side of the organization, and that side of the organization still exists under that brand name. But what they decided to do was sell off the certification business, which obviously a lot of the value there was in the brand name. So the certification side of the business kept the brand name, but they also, as part of the sale, they created an endowment and this new organization called the Global Technology Industry Association. So it is a trade industry association, follows all the rules thereunto, right? But now they're separate from the revenue generating piece of CompTIA. And this gives them a little more flexibility, a little more focus. And like I said, there was an endowment that was created for GTIA. So they're able to do a lot of really cool things, especially now that they are independent. Now, what happened to CompTIA? I kind of explained that already, but they're still off doing their certification thing. And now the community side of what used to be CompTIA is now the Global Technology Industry Association. I think it really does. The naming convention works well, right? Global, because they are global. Technology, because we encompass pretty much all technology, right? And so I think that, it makes sense in the naming, and I think they've done a really good job of getting off to a great start. They have achieved some things in a very short period of time that many organizations that I've seen out there who have split or been acquired or done any number of things did not do as quickly as GTIA did, especially, and be able to pull off an event like ChannelCon. All right. So that's kind of the backstory of what happened with GTIA late last year, early this year. And so how's it affected ChannelCon? Well, we're going to get into that in a little bit, but I want to make one shout out first because congratulations, Matt Lee, on winning GTIA Member of the Year. Matt, if you know him, you love him. He's just a great human, period. And he's done a lot for the cybersecurity side of the MSP industry, cybersecurity side of all technology, really. But he's very well known in this space. He, of course, works for PAX 8. And so congratulations to them as well. But Matt, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Really do think that this is well deserved. And I really appreciated, by the way, your vlog / live stream the other day. I just watched it this morning, as a matter of fact, and very humble person, but the best story that he gave in his vlog was about how many people came up to him after he had won Member of the Year to tell him how that he affected their careers in this industry. And that's great for any of us to hear. I think any of us who have been around and involved in the community have heard that at one point or another. And I think that's why a lot of us do what we do in this community. So again, congratulations, Matt. Look forward to you having a great year as a GTIA Member of the Year. All right. And a couple of quotes here, because I couldn't do without a couple of quotes. This one is from Scott Barlow. He's one of the board chairs at GTIA. The membership, you are the actual story. And I think this is part of what is driving a lot of the philosophy and the mindset that's going on at GTIA right now. where now we are really able to focus on the membership and helping everyone grow. I think that's part of what this is all about. It's about helping everybody grow in their careers, in their business, and in another important place, and that is philanthropy. And we'll get into that part in just a few minutes. Now, this is from the brand new CEO of GTIA, Dan Wensley. He says, I no longer want GTIA to be the best kept secret in the industry. We can do more. And he's absolutely correct. The community side, especially of what used to be CompTIA, has been the best kept secret in the industry. There's so many resources that the committees, the councils, all of those organizations within CompTIA, or now GTIA, they've produced a ton of content over the years that's extremely useful. I helped in the creation of the MSP guide that is got a lot of great information in it. I saw 2 new ones out just recently, and they were really good for ChannelCon, by the way. It was one for vendors, one for MSPs, on how to plan and how to execute going to an event like ChannelCon, because it is an investment, right? For a vendor, it's an investment. For an individual, it's an investment. For an MSP to send employees. So it's important that you know ahead of time what you're going to get out of it. So if you're going to events this year, absolutely check out those resources on gtia.org, and you will be able to plan those things so that you maximize, I hate to use the word return on investment, but you are making an investment in yourself or your business to go to one of these shows, and to get the most out of it, to make it worthwhile. I think it does take some advanced planning, and this is going to give you some ideas for things that you may not have thought of. So important to do that as well. All right. Now, of course, one of the biggest things that they talked about at GTIA ChannelCon this year was how they're going to empower the MSP community. And they are really doubling down on peer communities like All Things MSP. All Things MSP was there. Everything MSP was there. MSP Geek was there. There were a couple of podcasters there. Corey Kirkendall from Tech Unplugged. It's something like that. I'm sorry, Paco. I'm just blanking at the moment. But another great podcast. And by the way, I think that Paco LeBron and Uncle Marv are actually on Uncle Marv's live show after this tonight. So check that out, because 2 amazing podcasters in this industry on the same screen at the same time is a not to be missed show. But anyway, getting back to the conversation, we actually had an entire pre-day that was a peer-led organization. And I have to mention the Tech Degenerates, because they are another peer community out there that is doing a lot of stuff to support the entire industry. And Henry Tim and Don Sizer were the 2 main people behind getting this pre-day off the ground, and they did it in such an amazingly short period of time. I really have to give them kudos for doing that and getting it done as professionally as they did. It was amazing. It ran well. It ran more or less on time. None of these things ever run on time, but they were more or less on time. They did a really good job of doing that, and they got more people than they had planned on to register for that pre-day. And so it was just it was amazing. Lots of great panels. I was blessed to be able to sit on one of the panels with Dan Tomaszewski and Corey Kirkendall and Amanda LaChapelle. It was just a great time and a great use of that time. And MJ Shore, who's the GTIA Chief Community Officer, said, our members are in business to make money. Everything has to help them. And I think one of the things that sets apart the MSP industry from so many is the peer communities and how much peers are willing to help each other to succeed. There's not a lot of secrets around here on how we do things. because everybody shares how they do them. Now, that's also tempered by the fact that a lot of people do things differently. And so there are so many great ideas out there and so many different ways to do this business because, quite honestly, there's lots of different kinds of customers and they all don't work the same. You have small to medium enterprise clients, you have SMB clients, you have residential clients, especially high net worth residential clients who really do need the expertise and the security, especially of an MSP. So big focus on community, especially with that whole pre-day ahead of time. And then community impact or charitable giving. I mentioned philanthropy earlier on tonight. $1.5 million or more in charitable commitments announced for 2025. That is a huge number. Now, part of that is that endowment that enables GTIA to do that. They donated $50,000 to a Nashville nonprofit called Black Lemonade. And we got to see some of those people and hear some of those stories at ChannelCon. And they're really trying to make philanthropy part of this community in a much bigger and much more significant way. And so I think that's important. And I think it's a great thing for the community to do. And I think it's something that we can do now that we are independent from the certification part of the business. And by the way, I keep saying the word we. I should explain, actually, before I go any further, kind of my role in GTIA. It's not what it kind of used to be. I have served on several committees. I chaired the MSP committee for a while, and now I am a member of the member champions group, which is great. Great group of people who have been around CompTIA and GTIA a lot longer than I have. But I really do appreciate the opportunity to continue to contribute as a member champion. So when I say we, that's why I say we. All right. And we do have from MSP After Hours. They say, Eric, hey. Well, hey back. Thanks for showing up. We do appreciate everybody who shows up to these. A little light tonight, but I also think that my bandwidth might be a little low. We've had a lot of storms here in North Carolina today, and when the ground is very wet, my internet connection tends to decrease in quality. All right, so let's continue on with some data that Carol and April shared, which one of the great things about CompTIA GTIA has always been the data that's produced and actionable data that MSPs can use in order to improve their business, right? So here are some SMB trends that Carolyn called out. 40% of the SMBs increased their IT budgets in 2025. That's huge because we've seen especially with COVID, people started getting very cautious, right? And so there was kind of a dwindling of budgets there for a while. And now it's starting to go back and increase, and 40% is a rather significant increase. 65% say technology is critical to their business goals, but most admit they need help forming a real IT strategy. So what does that mean, really? Well, it means that MSPs who can tie technology to their clients' outcomes, their business outcomes, those are the ones that are going to find, I think, a higher level of success in the MSP industry over the next several years, because these smaller clients, especially the SMB world, doesn't do a lot when it comes to strategizing their technology. They tend to just put a Band-Aid on things to get them fixed, to get them to tomorrow, right? But so many of these small to medium-sized businesses can be helped with how their business runs and their actual success by having a real strategy. And that real strategy is going to come from an expert like an MSP. And that's why we've talked about this for several years in terms of outcomes. If you drive outcomes instead of just widgets with your clients, you're going to find greater success among your clients. All right, AI. We couldn't have a ChannelCon, we couldn't have an event without talking about AI, right? There's just not an event going on in this industry where we are not talking about AI. So over 60% of SMBs are increasing AI spending. That's a big number, right? SMBs fall into three camps. Early adopters, 33%, which I think is actually pretty high, right? For SMBs, although SMBs can be a lot of times on the cutting edge because they don't have to make decisions by committee, right? So it's easier for them to be early adopters. Experimenters, 50%, and non-adopters, 20%. So that's a lot in terms of kind of people on the front edge of the curve, right, on adopting AI. Part of that probably is due to the fact that AI is so approachable and so easy to access at this point. And then Carol and April actually about AI said, MSPs who haven't embraced AI risk missing out are, oh, sorry, small words on a tiny screen. MSPs who haven't embraced AI risk missing out on a significant revenue opportunity. And I think this is true. AI, first of all, does represent a risk to a small to medium-sized business because of the data exposure issue, right? But there are so many things that AI can do and does do well that a small to medium-sized business can take advantage of. In marketing alone, in creating content, in creating social media posts, AI can do some really cool stuff. It may not be the best stuff that you're going to get out of a good marketing agency, right? But for a small to medium-sized business, a lot of times some is better than none. And so AI can definitely help with a lot of those things, but a lot of it is around risk and how to teach your clients how to use AI effectively and, productively in their business. Cybersecurity is lagging, and that's an opening, says Carol and April. Only 4 in 10 SMBs listed security as a strategic priority. We're back to strategy again. MSPs play a key role in not just fixing things when they break, not just monitoring systems to make sure that, things are running well, but really being that strategic partner, not just in security, but also in all those other things that we mentioned earlier. But being strategic when it comes to security is just even more critical because of the potential risks of what can happen. Many are cyber aware. That means they understand that people are under attack. They're under attack, right? Now, this kind of plays into the whole, it's not going to happen to me, I'm too small, kind of thing. But a lot of them also know they've got, fellow business owners, or they've watched the news where they know that these things are happening, but they are still underprepared. And that's where MSPs can come in because, quite frankly, they don't understand how to be prepared. And so being an MSP, I hate to use the word trusted advisor, but it's top of mind because that's the podcast that came out this morning. So if you didn't catch the podcast on trusted advisor, go ahead and do that. It's one of our series in buzzwords for the industry. And if you didn't see the original buzzword episode, that was last week's episode. So I encourage you to go back and check that out as well. So GTIA's solution, well, they encourage MSPs to lead with risk assessments and education. I think this is a no-brainer these days. There are too many tools, too many things available in terms of both tools for doing risk assessments and education to provide to your clients to miss out or not do these things for your clients. So I would definitely consider, if you're not doing it now, consider doing risk assessments. You should be doing them on your existing clients but you should also be using them as a prospecting tool as well. Quotes and real talk from the show floor. These are some things that were overheard at GTIA ChannelCon, and I think they were relevant to the event. And they kind of spoke to the vibe that was going on at the event. This felt like a community of builders, not just a trade show. Absolutely true. And that was doubly true of the community pre-day. Everybody in there was interested in building up this community, building up this industry, securing this industry, all the different things. And I don't think there's a better word for it than builders, because we are still evolving and building this industry, and we will be doing that probably for decades to come. SMBs don't know what tech to buy. They want MSPs to guide them. We've heard similar statements throughout the night tonight in different things that I pulled from ChannelCon this year. Absolutely true. SMBs, tech has gotten to the point now where it is so critical and it is so strategic that they don't know how to leverage it properly. And that's what they need. They need a guide. And the best guide that I know of for a small to medium-sized business in terms of their technology is an MSP. So I think this is the role that we have to play with new technologies that come out like AI, with things that are strategically and risk important like cybersecurity. They need a guide. You always do better being a guide than just being a wrench turner. I'll just say it that way. Another thing I overheard, we're not here just to sell anymore. We're here to lead. And that speaks directly back to that middle quote. We're not here to just sell computers, to just sell services, to sell security packages. We are here to lead our clients into the next evolution of their business by way of technology. So I think that's just a great way to put that. Now, so what are we doing next year? ChannelCon 2026. It's August 3rd through the 5th in San Diego at the Marriott Marquis. I think, again, great place to have a show. Nashville was awesome. Don't get me wrong. Nashville, one of my favorite event cities to go to. A lot of great things going on. Blacksmith InfoSec and Scofie, all those guys, they did a great job of putting on an after event on Thursday night for MSPs, and got a couple of tours around Nashville in a party bus. So thanks, guys, for that. But why should you go to ChannelCon 2026 in San Diego? These are my 5 reasons to attend next year. Network with 1,000+ IT pros. What else? Like, it's a community that feels like a family. I think a lot of the quotes and things have pointed that out tonight as well. You will not go to, I think, a better peer-led event next year than ChannelCon. It's our trade industry association. It's the most unique show of its kind in our industry, and the largest in that unique kind of category of peer communities. You'll get early access to GTIA research on all the things that Carol and April loves to talk about and do research on. You'll get to bring your own voice to the GTIA member initiatives. There's going to be a lot of member-led initiatives. And look, we're always looking for volunteers to help shape this industry. And those people are you, and especially MSPs. I know you're busy. I know you have businesses to run. Don't let the vendors run all of the communities and councils. I'm a vendor. I love vendors, but we need it to be at least 50-50, right? Because if MSPs don't participate, we're getting a very one-sided view. And so I would very much like to see the percentage of MSP volunteers in the committees, communities, councils, whatever we're calling them this week, to step up and join those. And then, of course, experience the best of San Diego, the beach, the rooftop parties, and the sunshine. All right. I think that's everything. That is everything that I had for this evening. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of this community, being part of All Things MSP. We really do appreciate you coming and joining us on these evenings. Hopefully the bandwidth wasn't too bad. I will have to go back and check. I got a couple of messages during the show that that my bandwidth was not ideal. So I'll be checking. And if it didn't turn out well, I will go ahead and post the recording later and let you guys know. But with that, thanks so much. Don't forget to check out Paco and Uncle Marv tonight on his live stream that comes up in just about 30 minutes over on Uncle Marv's YouTube channel. And hey, until next time, just keep it real. Love you. Talk to you later. Hey, thanks for watching All Things MSP Live. You can reach me, Eric Anthony, at eric@allthingsmsp.com. If you're a guest, if you're a vendor, if you want to sponsor the show, let me know.